Hello, hello, hello. We are back again. How are y'all doing, Sugar Happy Fam? How are you, Danny?
I'm great. How are you?
I am so good. I really am good. Like we have been saying, this particular week that we are filming or recording this in has been the biggest challenge. We were supposed to be in LA. However, so many things happened that we were not able to be there, from weather. I mean, the whole, what is it? The whole flight system went down or whatever. So our
Lots,
flights
lots of things just were
just,
us being physically in LA. So that's why we have to thank the Lord for technology and for the ability to connect with people virtually because it definitely is a lifesaver sometimes.
it really is. And this conversation alone, Joy in the Valley, is one that we have been wanting to have for a while because since 2020, and honestly, I do believe before then, there have been so many people who have had to go through so many transitions. Valley, for those who don't know or aren't, there's a biblical reference where usually when you're going through the valley, like it's a very low point, there's no sun, it's kind of darker. It's lush vegetation, so you feel kind of incubated, you feel alone. It can be super scary because there usually is no straight path out. And to be able to find joy when you are in spaces and places where there is no path out, it does feel a little chaotic. It can feel as though that there may be a little bit of suffering or chaos. It can be a lot. And so the conversation that we are about to have today, oh my gosh, first of all, Crystal Streets is just one of the most gentle humans that I've ever had the opportunity to meet. Even when she touches you, there's such a gentleness there that you feel at peace. So beyond, I mean, and she does a lot. Listen, multidimensional, definitely. She is an and type of human, not a but, not an or, but an and. From an energetic alchemist to an intuitive fine jeweler, a healer, a channel, a ceremonialist, a cosmic guide, a breathwork facilitator, and a spiritual coach. And that's just what she does now. That's not even talking about the chapters that she has closed previously. But this conversation today, you are going to want to make sure you take you some time, be in a quiet space so you can hear. There are going to be so many gems dropped from this convo, so much healing that's going to take place. And I'm super, super excited. Danny and I know I speak for the both of us when we say we are so excited to welcome Crystal with us today. Let me go ahead and bring you in. How are you?
Hi, beautiful beings. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you
I
for
appreciate you.
coming and adjusting with all the madness happening. We so appreciate that. It's not easy sometimes to kind of pivot last minute. So we really appreciate you kind of rolling with us. We needed that.
Of course. Isn't life about pivoting though? Like that's what life is about. And you guys we just left Mercury retrograde. So everything you guys described, your travel, your communication, the systems going down, all the things were Mercury retrograde related. So it's crazy because when we start to align with the ecosystem and the cosmic energy, right? We can kind of prepare ourselves for these seasons.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared. I wasn't. Like I was
ready. I wasn't ready.
I wasn't ready.
Yeah,
I hadn't gotten into an accident in over 10 years, and especially not in someone's car. Like I've never ever. I take pride in honoring other people's material, whether they give me the responsibility of watching over their children or the responsibility of, their home or their car. I always take great pride in taking care of other people's stuff. And so when I got in that accident, and honestly, it's the worst accident I've ever been in because there's been such prolonged pain. I was too through. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, I damaged someone else's property, even though, yes, technically it wasn't my fault. It still was in my possession. And so that means it was my responsibility to bring it back whole. And for me to not be able to bring it back because the car was totaled, I was like, I wasn't ready for this experience, not in this good new year that I have already decided is going to be mine. I wasn't ready. So I like what you said. Go ahead.
Can I ask you, what's the lesson here?
The lesson.
Have you figured that out yet? What the lesson is? Because there's a lesson in everything.
So I was talking to Danny and I told her the lesson for me is when I feel like I shouldn't do something, I should maybe honor that energy. I felt like, yeah, because I felt like I should support and serve in a different way. But I said, no, I'm still going to go ahead and go. But instead of honoring what that was, I went against what my spirit felt. And I feel like because I was in such a yeah, I was in such misalignment that happened. Because like I said, I don't even know what a ticket is. I haven't gotten a ticket in over 10 years. I don't know. That's just not. And then for this to happen and for the accident to be so traumatic, like even now, back still hurts, face still hurts. That's why y'all, I'm in no makeup. That's okay. I'm still cute. But for the things that even like my head is still cloudy. So we're, going to do all the tests and things. But for me, it's the lesson is be in alignment. You're going to have to learn, especially in this next level that you're going to have to listen to what your intuition is saying so that you don't have to experience such backlash. That was my lesson.
Beautiful. You like, and taking that with you into the next, because you're going to get tested again to see if you're listening to your intuition. But most importantly, it's like, can't you see how quickly like we can fall when we don't honor our own intuition? When you didn't listen, we fall out of alignment. And when you fall out of alignment, it opens you up to whatever's not in your path to come in.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So much so is, we always look at, okay, these switch ups of life, these things that happen, what does it mean? Because life truly can be like super, super challenging, right? And so when these switch ups happen, we have to decide, like, okay, who will we be? Like, who will we be in this time, in this space? And we truly named so many accolades and titles that you hold, but outside of all of those, like, who do you say that you are?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I am just truly a multi-dimensional being. Like, I don't even I gave you all of those titles, they're a part of what I've accomplished, but they don't define me, because I find that I have this thing called my transformative life process, which essentially is a process of growth through the death of an old way of being and the birth of a new, right? And for me, I've died many, many times, right? Some of those deaths were straight up like, my brother was murdered in the middle of me filming one of the biggest TV shows in my life, right? Or me becoming a mother. Like, I've died and transitioning into motherhood, the old me died. Yeah. So I just say all that to say, like, my identity is always changing and growing and evolving. So all I can say right now in this present moment is that I am a multi-dimensional being, because I exist on different vibrations, different frequencies. I'm able to go into the ethers and hang out in the 5D energy, come back down to 3D energy on this planet Earth and be a human. But I exist on lots of timelines and frequencies and vibrations. So that's what I am. I am a multi-dimensional starseed, light being, light worker.
I love that.
Yeah, when you mentioned, like, something tragic happening and it causes you to kind of have this death to self, a lot of times that can feel like you're drowning. It can feel like you don't have, like Alicia talked about when we started, being in the valley where it's lush and you feel stuck and you just don't really see a way out. And with the unfortunate and heartbreaking spike in suicide rates, in even murder suicide rates. Like, there's a name for that though, where it's like a homicide suicides, where like there's been an unusual, during COVID, there was a 19% spike in murder suicides, where men specifically were murdering their families and then killing themselves. Domestic abuse skyrocketed. Like, this time period for us has been, for the, and us as in like the collective, just everyone, just like, there, even if you're not going through it, it hurts to see your loved ones go through it, you know? So when you are in those spaces, maybe when you're going through a death, or you're going through a process that feels very overwhelming and you can get hopeless, what do you feel like you anchor yourself in to kind of stay afloat? Like, how do you kind of stay anchored so that you can find the energy and find the will to keep going? Because I think a lot of times right now, people are feeling so hopeless that they just want to give up.
Yeah. And that breaks my heart. Like, that makes me so, but what I can say is, like, the more and more that you go within, and the more and more that you connect to source, which is internal. I think most of us prior to 2020, we were living our lives externally, right? Where 2020 forced us to go within, the last few years forced us to go within and face ourselves, face our wounds, face our trauma. Like, a lot of people had completely different experiences during the pandemic. For me, this is my life. Like, I live internal. So me staying inside and doing, being in this space, it was like, yay. But for others who never took the time to be still, to go within, to face whatever was facing, it was not a easy experience. And I could see how the things that you were mentioning about the homicidal suicide, you know, when you, in regular normal life prior to 2020, we could just keep busy or leave or not face, not like be under our abuser or leave the house. We had so many distractions, but when we had to sit in it and sit with ourselves, right? I call that the void. The death and being in that darkness is the void. It is, if you don't know what's happening, right? It could easily feel like, oh my God, this will never, ever be over, right? But if we could remind ourselves, the more and more I died, the more I started to become the observer. And I started to be like, oh, okay, I'm about to die again, right? I'm about to die again. But this time, the first time, I didn't know what was happening to me. And I made it all about me. Everything, this is happening to me. I'm a victim. Why did this happen to me? And all of this. And now when these things come up, I'm like, okay, bring it on. Like, what's the challenge here? This is the opportunity for growth. And if we could just switch our perspectives, because it's all a perspective switch, flip. And if we're sitting in something and it feels uncomfortable, uneasy, or whatever, to me, like, that is the prime opportunity for you to grow. Because guess what? On the other side of the darkness, because it will end, it's only temporary. But if you could keep reminding yourself, like, this is temporary. And on the other side of this is a big old gift for me, right? And that's how I see it. I see it like, when I'm in that void, I just think about the other side, like, oh shit, this is about to be a big ass gift for me. Like, I'm about to get so blessed. This manifestation that's coming through, that's so big, that has like completely rock bottom me so that I could level up to meet it at its energy, at the same frequency. It's that. It's just like coming out of being able to sit in the void, but understanding that it's temporary, and understanding that it is an opportunity for growth, and understanding that on the other side of it, there's a gift. We can get there.
I think it's the understanding that there's a gift, because a lot of times especially like I said, when you are in that valley low, you forget that, hey, this isn't into perpetuity. Like this isn't an infinite time frame. This is a moment in time. And if I can commit to learning whatever the lesson is, or maybe moving a little slower, or paying a little bit more attention, or also too honoring what are my needs in this place and space, and how am I going to position myself to be able to support what my needs are, then there is a gift. And on the other side of that gift is, more knowledge, more understanding, more of who, or a closer opportunity of you getting closer and more in depth with, okay, who am I supposed to be in this next level? Like, what's needed on this next level? I think that is a beautiful way to think about it, especially because it gives you something to hold on to, like to anchor yourself in. Yeah. When you're flailing, you need something to anchor yourself in.
Yeah. I have a lot of tools and modalities that I use, that I've collected over the years to help me through those valleys and through that void. And a few of them are my breath work. My breath work can change your state of being immediately within a couple of minutes.
Can you explain to some of our listeners because some of these terms I'm sure people see and we all understand what they are, but can you break down what breath work is? Like, what does that even mean? Because people are like, yeah, I breathe every day. Like, what are we doing?
Okay, so basically we hold the power of, so our breath work has natural DMT. DMT is something that's found in plant medicine. So say you see these people that are doing these ayahuasca journeys or psilocybin. Yeah. So we naturally have DMT in our bodies, which essentially means that we can, by using our breaths, take us to other states of consciousness. It can take us to your subconscious, right? Which your subconscious holds your belief system. Your subconscious holds your trauma. Your subconscious holds all the things that happen to you between the ages of 0 and 7. Between the ages of 0 and 7 is when your prominent belief system was formed. If you were told you weren't good enough, if you weren't heard, if you weren't seen, that right there, that period of 0 to 7 is your most formidable years when the subconscious is shaped and formed. So we're all essentially, if you don't go back and heal those years of trauma, of whatever, someone telling you weren't good enough, worthy, you weren't heard, seen, loved, whatever your story is, you are still operating as an adult in this 0 to 7 framework. And it's just looping in your subconscious. So what the breath work does, and my breath work is an intense breath work. It's a 3-part breath. It's done all in and out through the mouth. It's a deep inhale, belly out, and then pulling it up through the heart space and then out through the mouth. And through this breath work is what I facilitate in my sessions with clients and my events, is that it immediately takes you down to your subconscious beliefs, and anything that's been stagnant, stored, repressed, suppressed, rejected, it all bubbles up to the surface. This is what this breath work does. So, and it's like this hidden superpower that we don't know, we're not educated on, but we all are our own healers. You don't need a guide. You don't need me. You don't need your pastor. You don't need a guru. You don't need a tarot reader. You don't need anybody. You are connected directly to source, and your body has everything it needs to heal itself out of depression, out of physical ailments, out of everything Alicia just described that she was experiencing. Her breath and her going within can completely transform that within days. People have come to me with being in car accident, with back ailments, back pain, can't walk. They leave my table after a breathwork session and they're flying out of my studio.
Yeah, breathwork is a very real thing. I had taken when I was pregnant, I took a hypnobirthing class. Which was, I'm super familiar with breathwork as well, but the hypnobirthing experience for me allowed me to labor alone, and not alone as in my partner was there, but I let him sleep because I knew I needed to really go in. I
Yeah.
didn't tell anyone I was in labor, and I was able to labor by myself for about 12, 13 hours.
Wow. You see
No
that?
medication, no nothing. I was just like home, like
Yes.
laboring alone. And it just allowed me to kind of connect to my body, connect to my baby. It just, I ended up obviously having a child with my doula ended up coming like, not too long, but
Yeah.
I ended up birthing my baby within maybe 2 hours of getting assistance from like my doula, making it to the birth house. And by the time I stepped in the birth house, I could feel my baby's head in my canal. And she was born within 20 minutes, completely unmedicated birth, first child. But a lot of that had to do with my ability to do breath work. So it's one
Yes.
of those things that is definitely a hidden superpower that is kept
Yes.
from us, that I feel like, especially with as Black people, we have so much trauma that has just been passed down, generational trauma and things like that, that if we could just use some new modalities other than the pastor and the church and kind of that pillar of the Black community, if we could look for other things that may be more effective, then we may have a different outcome. So other than breath work, are there other modalities that you find to be super effective when you are in those dark spaces to kind of lift you out? Because I strongly believe, and it seems like you feel this way too, that if you have the tools and the modalities, like it's like I call it swimming to shore faster. Where
Yes.
like you're gonna get thrown out there, but like now I'm a breaststroke my way through. I'm not gonna drown
Yes.
for 3 days. I can maybe recoup in 24 hours. And it's not
Yes.
about avoiding it and not having pain. It's about working through the pain so that you can get
Yes.
to the other side in a much more effective and quicker way. So other than breath work, what else is there for people to kind of learn about and embrace to kind of help them through?
Mm.
I love that, Danny. Like you are like that. You use that during birth. Like I am so proud of you because
Yeah.
I gave birth prior to learning breath work. And I'm sure my experience would have been completely different. So I
Thank
applaud you for that. That's
you.
huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's great that you are using that. Um, and I just want to talk about, you talked about trauma, right? And emotions and all these things being stored in the body. And the biggest thing breath work does is all these things are stored. This trauma, the epigenetics of the DNA that's passed on to us, the trauma that's passed on in our lineage, the things that we inherit, like the trauma and the karmic debt that we inherit from our lineage. It's all stored in our energy centers, our seven
Mm.
chakras, our energy centers. Everything is stored in the body. So do you notice how when say an old couple that's been together for years and one of them passes away, right? And then the other one is so heart-stricken with grief that they end up passing away too.
Yeah.
So basically, the grief that was stored in the heart needed to come out and express itself. And when it doesn't, it causes physical ailments, just like breast cancer. I had a
Yeah.
client who her heart chakra was blocked from something she was dealing with her father under like unforgiveness and abandonment and the grief of that. She stored it in her heart. And I truly believe that when you let these things store in the energy centers, the energy has to eventually release. It cannot stay in the body. The breath work helps to release it on your own terms. But if you don't, it's going to manifest as physical pain,
Yeah.
physical ailments. So I use hypnotherapy, self-hypnotherapy, self-guided hypnotherapy. That really changed the game for me because what I started to do was reprogram my subconscious belief. I had to teach my subconscious a new story. So if my limiting belief was I wasn't worthy of a healthy relationship, I had to begin to tell my subconscious a new story. I am so worthy of a healthy relationship. I only accept what I am worthy of. I manifest relationships that align with my light, not my trauma, right? So hypnotherapy, breath work, meditation. I cannot stress enough. I drop down 3 times a day. That may be extreme. This is my life. This is what I do. But when I tell you guys, meditation is like access to this other world, this other universal divine source consciousness that you cannot access with your eyes open. You cannot access it. If you drop down even once a week, once a day, when I wake up in the morning, another one of my modalities is I start my day at a very, very high vibration so that by the time the bullshit comes in at 10, I'm still here. So when I wake up in the morning and open my eyes, I meet it. You know how you tend to start thinking about issues and problems? I don't do that. I immediately put my headphones on and I go into a very positive, uplifting meditation. Then I take a glass of still water with lime and I drink it. Before I look at my phone, before I look at an email, a text, a phone call, I drink it. I imagine it clearing my body. And then I do some light stretching, but I ease my way out of bed. I start my morning at a very, very high vibration so that by 10 o'clock, again, the bullshit comes, I'm still here. By 12 o'clock, some bullshit still comes, I'm still here. Whereas if you don't start your day in a high vibrational state, bullshit comes at 10, you already down here by 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So being proactive is amazing. Meditation, hypnotherapy, breath work. I work with crystals a lot, crystals to support like whatever the healing that you need at the moment, whether it is to if you have a migraine, if you're having trouble sleeping. I use a lot of crystals that have healing properties that support what you need in that moment.
Like what you just heard? Want some more? Make sure you're subscribed for the full access behind the scenes community view on our Patreon. Or if you love Apple, you can also subscribe there. And you can do so by going to triggeredafpodcast.com. You can use the top banner, or you can go ahead and click those first two buttons to subscribe exactly where you want to.
Continue to share all of our podcasts with your friends, with your family members, and you can continue to watch just 30 minutes on YouTube now. So if you want the full episode, you better subscribe.
We will see you soon as a member of our tribe. We cannot wait to continue these conversations. Bye, Trigger Happy Fam.